Hello everyone! In just about 2 weeks, the second half of version 6.5 is going to drop, and it is bringing some of the most anticipated banners we have seen in a long time. We have Nefer and Lauma arriving with a pretty solid 4-star lineup, featuring Xingqiu, Kirara, and Jahoda. Naturally, everyone is scrambling to figure out if they have enough saved up to actually bring these characters home. Looking to get the most out of your favorite gacha and anime-style games? You need to check out ENJOYGM. It's a highly trusted platform where you can enhance your gaming experience safely and instantly. The process is very straightforward. They only need your UID and server region. No passwords or account logins are ever required, keeping your account 100% secure. Speaking of security, ENJOYGM is PCI DSS certified, ensuring all your transactions are protected, and they have an incredible reputation on Trustpilot with tons of positive reviews. Here's the best way to use it. As a new user, you'll get a special welcome gift just for signing up. For your first purchase, you'll receive an exclusive perk that unlocks member-only pricing. My advice? Use that first purchase perk to unlock the member status, then apply your welcome gift for maximum value. If you need anything, they have 24/7 human customer support ready to help. Also, join their Discord community via the link in my description for exclusive member benefits. Visit ENJOYGM today and level up your account. On the surface, the numbers look decent. In fact, if you just saw a thumbnail saying you can get over 5,800 Primogems, you might feel like you can breathe a sigh of relief. But there is a massive catch. A huge part of this total is actually just a result of lucky timing with the calendar, and once we strip that away, you will realize that Phase 2 is actually a lot tighter than it looks. Today, I am going to break down every single source of income for the second half of this patch so you can see the truth behind the numbers and decide if you really have enough room to gamble on these banners. When we look at a new banner phase, it is very easy to get blinded by the big final number. We see 36 pulls and think, okay, that is a decent chunk of a pity. But to understand if your account is actually safe, we have to look at where those gems are coming from. If a phase is rich because of new content, that is great. But if a phase is rich just because the month happened to end on a specific day, that is a different story. Let's start with the most basic source of income that every single one of us relies on: the daily commissions. Over the 21 days of Phase 2, your dailies are going to give you exactly 1,260 Primogems. This is your foundation. It is the steady, slow drip of currency that keeps us going. But as you can already see, 1,260 gems is barely even 8 pulls. Dailies are never meant to carry a banner by themselves. They are just the background noise. If you were relying on just playing every day to get Nefer or Lauma, you wouldn't even make it past the first 10 pull. This immediately tells us that the health of Phase 2 is going to be entirely dependent on external factors like resets and events. This brings us to the first big reason why the total looks so high: the resets. In Phase 2, we are getting a perfect storm of calendar resets. First, we have one Imaginarium Theater reset, which is worth 1,000 Primogems. That is a massive injection of gems all at once. Then, we have the Paimon's Bargains Shop reset, which gives us 5 intertwined fates. If we convert those into Primogem value, that is another 800 gems. On top of that, we have a Spiral Abyss reset for another 800. When you add those 3 things together, the theater, the shop, and the abyss, you are looking at 2,600 Primogems. That is nearly half of the entire phase's income coming from 3 single clicks on the calendar. This is exactly what I mean by lucky timing. If these resets had fallen into Phase 1, Phase 2 would look absolutely empty. The reason the total looks okay is that the game is basically front-loading all the monthly rewards into this specific window of time. It is like getting your entire monthly paycheck on the first day of the month. It feels like you are rich, but you still have to make that money last for the next 30 days. Now, let's look at the events, because this is where the actual gameplay rewards come in. The main event for this half is titled Where Waves Meet the Reef. This is our primary source of event gems, and it should give us around 970 Primogems. It is a solid event, and it is really the only thing keeping the event side of the budget alive. We also have a smaller event called Rapid Capture, which adds another 420 gems to the pile. Together, that is 1,390 Primogems from playing through the limited time content. If you compare that to the 2,600 gems we get just from the resets, you start to see the problem. The actual new stuff to do in Phase 2 isn't actually giving us that many pulls. We are being carried by the system, not the content. We also have the Leyline Overflow event happening from May 11th to May 18th. Now don't get me wrong, Leyline Overflow is fantastic. If you need Mora or Hero's Wit to level up Nefer or Lauma, this is the best time to do it. But it provides 0 Primogems. It is a resource booster, not a pull booster. So while it adds value to your account, it does nothing to help you actually win a 50-50. As we get closer to the end of the version, we also have the 6.6 special program. Like always, the live stream will give us those 3 limited time codes worth 300 Primogems total. I also usually factor in about 60 extra gems from random web events or miscellaneous codes that pop up throughout the weeks. I always post these on the channel as soon as they go live because they are so easy to miss, and when you are this close to pity, every single gem counts. Then we have the scraps. Character trials for Nefer, Lauma, and the 5 stars give us a tiny bit, and when you add up all the other tiny sources, you get about 195 Primogems. It isn't exciting. No one wakes up hyped for character trial gems, but in a phase that is this tight, those 195 gems could be the difference between hitting your gold glow on the final night of the banner or staring at a 9-pull screen with no way to get the last one. So let's look at the final tally for a free-to-play player. When you combine the dailies, the massive reset cluster, the events, the live stream, and the miscellaneous codes, the total for Phase 2 of version 6.5 is approximately 5,805 Primogems. That comes out to roughly 36 pulls. For my Welkin Moon players, you can add another 1,890 Primogems on top of that, assuming you log in every day. That brings your total to 7,695 Primogems, or about 48 pulls. Now, I want you to really think about those numbers. 36 pulls for free-to-play and 48 for Welkin. On paper, 36 pulls sounds like a lot, but think about the reality of Genshin Impact. To guarantee a character from 0 pity, you need up to 180 pulls if you are extremely unlucky. 36 pulls isn't even enough to hit the soft pity range once. It is less than half of a single 5-star attempt. The challenge here is that Nefer and Lauma are designed to work incredibly well together. Most people aren't just looking for one, they want the duo. If you are starting Phase 2 with 0 gems and no pity, these 36 pulls are not going to be enough to save you. You are essentially praying for an early 5-star or a miracle. This is the trap of version 6.5. Because the timing makes the number look higher than usual, it gives players a false sense of security. You might think, oh, I have 5,800 gems coming. I can afford to spend a little bit on the current weapon banner or try for a constellation. But you can't. If the month of May didn't start inside this banner phase, you would be losing about 1,800 gems instantly between the shop and the Abyss Theater timing. Without that lucky calendar placement, we would be looking at only 4,000 Primogems for the whole 3 weeks. That would feel incredibly dry. So, please do not let the 5,805 number fool you into thinking the game is being extra generous right now. It is just a coincidence of timing. I know some of you are going to say, but wait, I haven't finished the new maps yet. And that is a very fair point. If you are one of those players who still has exploration left over from Phase 1, your personal total will be higher. If you haven't touched the Wind Peaks map north of Mondstadt, there is about 1,355 Primogems waiting for you there. If you haven't explored the Space of Asmodee map, that is another 400. If you add in the remaining world quests, achievements, and the offering system, you could potentially find another 1,100 gems or so. But here is the catch. That isn't Phase 2 income. That is delayed Phase 1 income. If you use those gems now to pull for Nefer or Lauma, it just means you chose not to use them during the first half of the patch. The total amount of Primogems in version 6.5 remains the same. This is why I think the best way to approach Phase 2 is with extreme discipline. This is not a rich phase, it is a carried phase. If you lose your 50-50, these 36 pulls are not going to be enough to bring you back to a guaranteed character before the banner ends. You will be stuck at 40 or 50 pity, staring at a banner that is about to expire, wishing you had saved more during the previous versions. The core of the problem is that we are in a transition period. Version 6.5 is laying the groundwork for what's coming next, and the developers know that Nefer and Lauma are high-value targets. By placing them in a phase that is carried by resets rather than massive new map expansions, it puts a lot of pressure on your existing savings. If you aren't careful, you will find yourself in a position where you have to decide between skipping Nefer or Lauma or opening your wallet. So when you see that 5,805 number, don't think I'm rich. Think I'm barely getting by. Use this time to finish every single hangout event, every single achievement, and every single quest you've been putting off. You are going to need every scrap of currency you can find. Phase 2 is a test of patience. It's about managing what you have rather than expecting a windfall of new gems. If you are a Welkin player, you are in a slightly better spot with 48 pulls. But even then, that is just enough to reach one soft pity if you already had about 30 or 40 pulls stored up. If you are at 0, even Welkin won't guarantee you a 5-star in this window. It is a very tight squeeze. To sum it all up, Phase 2 of version 6.5 is giving us a total of 5,805 Primogems for free-to-play players, which is 36 pulls. Welkin players can expect around 7,695 Primogems, or 48 pulls. While the number looks decent, remember that it is heavily inflated by the timing of the Imaginarium Theater, the Spiral Abyss, and the Paimon Shop reset. Without those lucky resets, this phase would be incredibly empty. If you have leftover exploration from Phase 1, you can boost your numbers, but for most players, this is going to be a very close call. Be smart with your wishes, don't ignore your dailies, and make sure you grab those livestream codes as soon as they drop. Nefer and Lauma are amazing, but they are not worth ruining your account's economy if you aren't prepared for the risk. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.